I still leave a space on the left side of the bed and repeat every I love you that you ever said. The coffee is cold and the kitchen is still. I'm waiting for footsteps that never will come down the hallway or knock on the door. I'm living in a house that's a home no more. The clock on the wall is the only sound left, a rhythmic reminder of what's in my chest. It used to beat fast when you walked in the room. Now it's just counting the hours of gloom, and my heart went silent the moment you left, like a beautiful melody stolen by theft. No more rhythm, no more rhyme, just a frozen shadow in the hallway of time. I'm screaming inside, but there's nothing to hear, just the echo of us as you disappear. The music is over, the violin's bent. The day that you walked out, my heart went silent. I saw your old jacket, it still smells like June, before all the flowers withered too soon. I tried to play our song to jumpstart the spark, but the notes turned to static and died in the dark. It's funny how silence can be quite this loud, like a permanent winter, a permanent cloud. They say that it heals, they say that it mends, but how does a story go on when it ends? I'm reaching for cables, I'm looking for wires to relight the ashes of all our desires, but the power is out and the signal is dead. I'm haunting the ghost of the life that we led, and my heart went silent the moment you left, like a beautiful melody stolen by theft. No more rhythm, no more rhyme, just a frozen shadow in the hallway of time. I'm screaming inside, but there's nothing to hear, just the echo of us as you disappear. The music is over, the violin's bent. The day that you walked out, my heart went silent. Shh, do you hear that? Nothing at all, just the dust hitting the floor, just the shadows on the wall. Quiet, so quiet. My heart went silent. We're sitting in the kitchen, but we're miles apart, tracing the cracks in the wood in the heart. I'm choosing my words like I'm walking on glass, watching the ghost of our chemistry pass. The kettle is whistling, a scream in the air, but you're staring through me like I'm not even there. One more I'm sorry that neither believes, one more cold night where nobody leaves. The tension is heavy, the air is too thin. I'm losing the fight that I never could win. We've reached the breaking point of us, the end of the road and the end of the trust. Like a bridge made of paper in a hurricane wind, I don't know where the healing is supposed to begin. We held on so tight that we snapped the gold. like windows with shutters pulled tight, shutting me out of the rest of the night. We're a beautiful tragedy, a slow motion crash, trying to gather the smoke from the ash. Do we keep on pretending? Do we stay for the sake of a promise we know that we're destined to break? I'm tired of bracing, I'm tired of the fall. Maybe the breaking is the kindest of all. We've reached the breaking point of us, the end of the road and the end of the trust. Like a bridge made of paper in a hurricane wind, I don't know where the healing is supposed to begin. We held on so tight that we snapped the gold thread. Now there's nothing but echoes of things left unsaid. It's the sound of a heart as it turns into dust, the beautiful, terrible breaking point of us. Hear that? That's the snap, that's the silence, that's the end of the map. No more we, just you and just me, past the breaking point, finally free. I stood on the driveway, the gravel like glass, watching the seconds and minutes all pass. The taillights were fading to embers of red, burning the maps of the life that we led. I waited for brake lights, a sign or a turn, but some lessons in leaving are bitter to learn. The rear view was clear, I could see your silhouette against a horizon that hasn't cleared yet. I was bracing for impact, for one last goodbye, but you didn't even glance at the sky. And you never looked back, not even a blink, while I was the ship starting slowly to sink. The road stretched ahead like a ribbon of gray, and you just kept driving and driving away. No hesitation, no doubt in the glass, just the cold steady wind as the miles all passed. My world was a wreck in the path of your track, but you never looked back. No, you never looked back. I went back inside to the ghost of your scent, to the see you tomorrow that never was meant. The porch light is on, but the driveway is bare. I'm talking to shadows that aren't even there. It's the almost that kills me, the what if you stay, the debt of a promise that never was paid. Was it that easy to let go of the wheel, to numb all the things that we used to both feel? I was a landmark you passed on the way to a version of you that I couldn't make stay. I was looking for closure, for one final stare, but I was just looking at thin, empty air. And you never looked back, not even a blink, while I was the ship starting slowly to sink. The road stretched ahead like a ribbon of gray, and you just kept driving and driving away. No hesitation, no doubt in the glass, just the cold steady wind as the miles all passed. My world was a wreck in the path of your track, but you never looked back. The dust has all settled, the engine is gone, and I'm still right here, waiting for dawn. But the road is just black, and you never look back. No, you never look back. I stood in the doorway, just watching you pack small pieces of us that you wouldn't bring back. The suitcase was heavy, the air was so thin. I was losing the battle, I thought we could win. You folded your sweaters, you folded the years into a silence too heavy for tears. I wanted to beg, but my throat was a stone. I was surrounded yet completely alone. I saw the decision in the way that you moved, a heart that was finished with nothing to prove. It's the heaviest weight, the coldest of grieving, to stand in the kitchen and watch your love leaving. No sudden explosion, no crashing of glass, just the quietest way for a lifetime to pass. I reached for your hand, but you'd already flown to a future where I'm just a face you had known. I was staying behind in the dust and the grieving, while I watched the slow motion of love that was leaving. The keys on the counter, a metallic goodbye, under the gray of a mid-afternoon sky. The house felt like hollowed out bones in a chest, a nest that was empty, a heart with no rest. You didn't look angry, you didn't look pained, you just looked like someone who had nothing remained. Is there a word for the space that you leave, a name for the ghost that I'm forced to believe? On a map with no city, a clock with no gears, just a witness to all of my permanent fears. It's the heaviest weight, the coldest of grieving, to stand in the kitchen and watch your love leaving. No sudden explosion, no crashing of glass, just the quietest way for a lifetime to pass. I reached for your hand, but you'd already flown to a future where I'm just a face you had known. I was staying behind in the dust and the grieving, while I watched the slow motion of love that was leaving. Click, the sound of the latch, the end of the story, the end of the match. I'm still in the hallway, the shadows are weaving around the ghost of the love that was leaving. I was standing on the solid ground of us, building a life out of gold and a trust. I had my eyes on the stars in your gaze, lost in the warmth of our permanent maze. And you said a sentence, just 5 little words, and the sky fell as silent as falling down birds. The air left my lungs like a physical blow. The world started spinning, but painfully slow. I reached for the counter, I reached for your hand, but I was just grabbing at grains of the sand. And I felt everything collapse in a second. The future we painted, the life that I reckoned, the walls of the kitchen, the roof overhead, turned into ghosts of the things that you said. No thunder, no lightning, just one quiet crack, and the bridge that we built was a ghost in the black. I was standing right here, but the world didn't last. I felt everything collapse. Yeah. catching my breath in the quietest version of a love's sudden death. I've deleted your number, I've cleared out the drawer. I don't wait for your headlights to shine on the door. My mind has accepted that we're finally through. I've taught my own shadow to live without you. But logic is easy and reason is kind. It's the part in my chest that I'm leaving behind. I can tell my reflection that I'm doing fine, that I've moved the boxes and redrawn the line. But the muscle that's beating doesn't listen to me. It's still locked in a prison where you have the key. Because my heart still remembers the way that you laugh. It's still tracing the lines of our old photograph. My head knows you're gone and my eyes have run dry, but my pulse is a traitor that won't say goodbye. It remembers the rhythm of your hand in mine, like a melody frozen in moments of time. The world has moved on and the seasons have changed, but my heart still remembers everything we arranged. I walked past the cafe, the one on the bend. I told myself, look, it's just wood and a friend. But my chest started tightening, a physical ache, a ghost of a feeling I just couldn't shake. It's a cellular memory, a deep-rooted scar that knows exactly how perfect we are. Forget the December we spent in the rain. Forget all the secrets and forget all the pain. I'm pleading with heaven to let it go black, to give me my heartbeat and my silence back. Because my heart still remembers the way that you laugh. It's still tracing the lines of our old photograph. My head knows you're gone and my eyes have run dry, but my pulse is a traitor that won't say goodbye. It remembers the rhythm of your hand in mine, like a melody frozen in moments of time. The world has moved on and the seasons have changed, but my heart still remembers everything we arranged. My brain says it's over, my soul says it's done, but this beat in my chest is the only one still thumping, still aching, still calling your name. My heart still remembers, it's always the same. I kept the porch light burning for a year or two, just to have it waiting for a shadow of you. The neighbors stopped asking, the grass grew too tall, and I took down the pictures we had in the hall. But the space on the sofa is still shaped like your frame, and the silence in here still responds to your name. I told my reflection that I finally moved on, that the weight in my chest was officially gone. I rearranged furniture, changed every lock, but I still find myself checking the hands on the clock. 'Cause you were still here even when you were gone, in the breath of the evening, in the gray of the dawn, like a ghost in the static, a hum in the wire, the smoke that remains from a long buried fire. I try to replace you, I try to be free, but you're stitched in the fabric of what's left of me. The door was wide open, the curtains out of the mind, but they've never left a whole lifetime behind. I'm a house that is empty but feels full of ghosts of the person who loved you and missed you the most. Because you were still here even when you were gone, in the breath of the evening and the gray of the dawn, like a ghost in the static, a hum in the wire, the smoke that remains from a long buried fire. I try to replace you, I try to be free, but you're stitched in the fabric of what's left of me. The door was wide open, the curtains were drawn, but you stayed in the room. Even when you were gone, you were there in the coffee, you were there in the rain, you were there in the silence. Again and again I finally left, but I carried you on. I guess you're never really gone. I was reading the tea leaves of every text, trying to map out what happened next. I saw a slight distance, a chill in your tone, but I convinced myself I was just feeling alone. Then you sat me down and the air turned to ice, and I realized I'd paid the ultimate price. I was still building and you were tearing down. I was the king and you buried the crown. I looked for a flicker, a spark in your eye, but the fire was out and the well had run dry. And I learned you were done, and I learned you were gone long before I saw the light of the dawn. Your heart had been packing for months, I suppose, while I was still buying you red velvet roses. It wasn't a cliff, it was a slow, steady slide, and I was the last one to see you had died. And the we and the us, and the life we had spun, the hardest part was I learned you were done. I replayed the summer, the walks on the beach, searching for moments that stayed out of reach. Was it that Tuesday or back in July when you started rehearsing your final goodbye? You were already miles and miles away, while I was still planning for our next holiday. The betrayal isn't that you're leaving today, it's the months that you stayed with nothing to say. You let me keep dreaming, you let me keep hope, while you were just quietly cutting the road. And I learned you were done, and I learned you were gone long before I saw the light of the dawn. Your heart had been packing for months, I suppose, while I was still buying you red velvet roses. It wasn't a cliff, it was a slow, steady slide, and I was the last one to see you had died. And the we and the us, and the life we had spun, the hardest part was I learned you were done. I was the last to know, the very last one, by the time that you told me the damage was done. Yeah, you were already gone. And I just learned you were done. We're going through motions like actors on stage, reading the lines from a well-worn page. How was your day, and did you sleep well? A comfortable heaven, a quiet kind of hell. I'm reaching for you across the white sheets, but we're just two strangers on parallel streets. We're keeping the peace, but we're losing the war. I don't even know what we're fighting for. The kindness is hollow, the kisses are cold. We're clinging to stories that already were told. And it's no way to stay, and it's no way to live with nothing to take and with nothing to give. Just a habit of holding a hand that's gone numb, waiting for heartaches that never quite come. We're a fire that's out, but we're breathing the smoke. The punchline is missing from our favorite joke. I love you enough to just walk away, 'cause living like this, it's no way to stay. It's no way to stay. I saw you today in the light by the door, and I realized I don't know your heart anymore. You're a ghost in the hallway, a face in the glass, watching the seasons of memories pass. We're staying for safety, we're staying for pride, but something beautiful's withered inside. Is it better to shatter and slowly to fade, to burn down the garden that we both had made? I'm tired of finding, I'm tired of okay. I'm drowning in maybe and some other day. And it's no way to stay, and it's no way to live with nothing to take and with nothing to give. Just a habit of holding a hand that's gone numb, waiting for heartaches that never quite come. We're a fire that's out, but we're breathing the smoke. The punchline is missing from our favorite joke. I love you enough to just walk away, 'cause living like this, it's no way to stay. So I'm packing the silence, I'm leaving the key. I'm giving you back to the person you'd be without me. It's time to be honest, it's time to be great. 'Cause this, no, it's no way to stay. I was watching for shadows, I was watching for storms, for a crack in the ceiling or a change in your forms. I thought that a goodbye would sound like a crash, like a house in a fire turning slowly to ash. But the morning was quiet, the sunlight was gold, while the greatest of stories was being untold. There was no slamming door, no scream in the hall, just a leaf in the autumn beginning to fall. I looked at your chair and I looked at your plate, and I realized the silence was already too late. And love fell without a sound, like a feather that's drifting until it hits ground. No thunder to warn me, no lightning to see. Just a quietest drift of you leaving me. sound. Shh. Can you hear that? The sound of the end. The sound of a lover becoming a friend. It's nothing, it's empty. It's just the cold ground. The calendar pages are yellow and thin, marking the battles I didn't quite win. I've kept your old sweater, the one with the tear, because it still feels like your ghost standing there. The world told me move, and the world told me run, but I was still basking in a long set sun. My mind knew the truth by the end of July, that forever was just a well-packaged lie. But the muscle that beats in the cage of my chest refused to believe you were leaving the nest. And I carried the weight, and I carried the flame. I whispered the prayer of your beautiful name. I stayed in the wreckage, I stayed in the snow, refusing to see what I already know. It was a long, lonely road, a bitter cold show, and I couldn't move on, I couldn't just grow. I was a prisoner of a shadow, you know, until my heart let go. Oh, I finally washed the sheets on the bed and cleared out the echoes of things that you said. It felt like a murder, it felt like a sin to let a new season officially begin. But I was exhausted from holding the door for a person who doesn't live here anymore. There wasn't a snap and there wasn't a crack, just a slow, steady quiet that didn't look back. I let out a breath I've been holding for years and washed out the dust with a final few tears. And I carried the weight, and I carried the flame. I whispered the prayer of your beautiful name. I stayed in the wreckage, I stayed in the snow, refusing to see what I already know. It was a long, lonely road, a bitter cold show, and I couldn't move on, I couldn't just grow. I was a prisoner of a shadow, you know, until my heart let go. Until my heart let go. Exhale, the grip is finally loose. I'm letting it fade and finding my truth. I'm standing alone, the sun's starting to show. It took a long time, but my heart, yeah, my heart let go. Finally let go. Finally let go. I'm looking at the Polaroid taped to the wall, before the winter, before the big fall. Your hands in my pocket, the world's in our grip, before we let the always and forever slip. I see those two people, so loud and so bright, they feel like a dream in the middle of the night. I'm reaching for someone I used to belong to, the version of us that was steady and true. But the air is gone stagnant, the water's gone still, and I'm standing here against my own will. In the space between who we were and who we are now, there's a silence that's heavy, a broken two different stories with the same colored ink, but we're further apart than we even can think. It's a canyon, a desert, a cold-hearted floor, and the space between who we were and us anymore. You're talking about work and you're talking about rain, but you're avoiding the us and avoiding the pain. I remember the way that you'd finish my thought. Now I'm just counting the battles we fought. It's like we're two actors who've forgotten to play, watching the yesterday just drift away. Is it a bridge that we burned or a road that we missed? Was it the goodbye or the last of a kiss? I'm trying to find a way back to the start, but I can't bridge the gap of a changing apart. And the space between who we were and who we are now, there's a silence that's heavy, a broken down vow. I'm a stranger to the person who's wearing your face. I'm lost in the static of this hollowed out place. We're two different stories with the same colored ink, but we're further apart than we even can think. It's a canyon, a desert, a cold-hearted floor, and the space between who we were and us anymore. Look at us, two different ghosts of the people who loved and who mattered the most. The space is so wide, the space is so blue. I'm losing the me and the not anymore you. The space between, yeah, the space between. I reach for your hand in the middle of sleep, but the mattress is shallow where the memory was deep. I'm grasping at shadows and catching the air, checking the doorway to see if you're there. But the hooks in the hallway are silver and bare, and there's no more forever left in the prayer. I'm a mountain climber who's lost the road at the jagged edge end of a beautiful hope. I'm closing my fingers on a ghost of a spark, but I'm just painting circles in the middle of dark. And there's nothing to hold, and there's nowhere to stay. I'm watching the always just drift all away, like a smoke in the wind or a name in the sand. I'm trying to keep you with a shaking up hand, but the weight of the us has turned into a cloud, and the silence in here is becoming too loud. I'm standing right here in the center road, just alone. Nothing to hold, no, nothing to hold. I passed by the park where we carved out the day, in the bark of the oak by the old iron gate. The numbers are fading, the edges are blurred, just like the always in every last word. I reach for my phone to tell you the news. Before I remembered, I've got nothing to lose. The coffee still tastes like the Sunday we met, but the sun in the kitchen has officially set. I'm walking through hallways that used to be bright. Now I'm just tracing the outlines of night, and you became just a memory, a ghost in the glass, watching the seasons and centuries pass. A name in a story I used to tell, a secret I'm keeping, a lonely old shell. I look for the fire, but I found only stone. In the middle of us, I am standing alone. The person I loved has been stolen by time, and you became just a memory without any rhyme. I saw your old sweater at the back of the shelf. It smells like a version of you and myself that doesn't exist in the light of today. A beautiful vapor that drifted away. I try to hold on to the weight of your hand, but I'm just a witness to shifting up sand. Is there a place where the memories go, where the might have been flowers still manage to grow? Because here in the real world, the colors are gray, and you're just a shadow that's drifting away. And you became just a memory, a ghost in the glass, watching the seasons and centuries pass. A name in a story I used to tell, a secret I'm keeping, a lonely old shell. I look for the fire, but I found only stone. In the middle of us, I am standing alone. The person I loved has been stolen by time, and you became just a memory without any rhyme. Just a picture, just a name, just a flicker of a dying out flame. I'm closing the book, I'm turning the key. Now you're just a memory inside of me. Just a memory.